TikToks that feel illegal to watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife that never do an interview. Listen, in 20 years, won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and that she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people. How they all end up with that. That's part of what you get.
They're called handlers.
There's a small statistical chance that you could get hit by a Soviet-era spacecraft on Saturday. As wild as that sounds, it's true. Because 50 years ago, Russia launched a spacecraft on a mission to Venus. But it failed. It never left orbit and it broke into like 4 pieces. However, after spending 5 decades in space, one of these pieces, expected to be the half-ton weighing lander probe, is expected to re-enter Earth's atmosphere on May the 10th, although they have no idea where. And the expected impact area is massive, anywhere between 51.7 degrees north and 51.7 degrees south. So that's most of the US, the UK, Spain, almost all of Africa, most of Asia, the list goes on. So it could be in the ocean, most likely, but it could be on the freaking White House. Less likely, but it could be. So keep your heads up this weekend for a Russian projectile.
Where can I bet on this?
Have you remote viewed Antarctica yet?
Oh, I have. And that's where another remote viewer kicked me out.
Oh.
Like, he found me and I was like,
Yeah, they don't mess around there.
they do not mess around there. I was sort of just, floating down this hallway, right, in my astral body. And then there was this really big, and the way that I see other remote viewers is it would be like an outline of a human body, but transparent, like kind of like a ghostly shape almost. Anyway, so he was really big and like tall and also wide, and he was floating down the hallway towards me. And I was confused because I've never seen another remote viewer. Like, I've never been seen before at that point. And so he looks at me and he goes like this and he goes and he kicks, like pushes me energetically way outside of the base, and all of a sudden, like, I'm now outside. And I was just confused. And so what I did was I cloaked myself.
Cloak yourself.
Which essentially is putting like an invisibility cloak around your astral body. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depends on their consciousness level. And I went back into the base, so I stepped in behind him, and with any remote viewer you have a grounding cord, and that grounding cord leads the astral body back to the physical body. So what I did was I followed this guy's grounding cord down the hall, so behind him, and then I went into this tiny room, like we're talking very small room, and there was 2 men in military fatigues, and both of them in these military fatigues were like this. They were slumped over. And so in that moment I realized, oh, these are their remote viewers. So they're sitting in the base physically, and then they're patrolling the base astrally. And that was my first experience learning that, okay, I gotta be careful because I can't just go anywhere and do whatever I want.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's...
I used to play pretend too.
The official P. Diddy party list has just been released, and here is the list of all the names that they mentioned. The first one that was mentioned was Jay-Z, Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, Mary J. Blige, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Leonardo DiCaprio, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, Howard Stern, Russell Brand, Mariah Carey, Megan Fox, Pink, Justin Bieber, 50 Cent, Kendall Jenner, Kylie Jenner, Lil' Kim, Drake, Snoop Dogg, Alicia Keys, Serena Williams, David Beckham, Victoria Beckham, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Chris Brown, Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj, Tyler the Creator, Megan Thee Stallion, Post Malone, Travis Scott, Ellen DeGeneres, Kevin Hart, Jamie Foxx, Oprah Winfrey, Quincy Jones, DJ Khaled, Madonna, Lenny Kravitz, A$AP Rocky, Cardi B, Kris Jenner, Lupita Nyong'o, Sean Penn, Tyrese Gibson, Zendaya, Big Sean.
That's just the party invite list. Where's the after party list? That's the one of real relevance.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation. I think that's crystal clear. No question about it. So
pretends to be the party guy, just like Diddy.
Drugs,
cameras, drugs.
The CIA, as part of MKUltra, had Operation Climax, where they would lure Zhongs in with drugs and prostitutes, and then this drunk CIA schmuck would sit on the opposite of a two-way mirror and take notes on what, just evil, wicked stuff. And that's what they're using Epstein for, was blackmail operations. And they got some pretty high-level people snared into that, and they haven't released the entire list of close Epstein confidants, but Israel's former prime minister was one of them.
Barak?
Yes, they got a picture of him visiting Epstein at his New York apartment, and he was well connected to Epstein, but that was all in secret. And that is the intelligence part of Mossad. And of course, they couldn't do that without coordinating with the CIA.
I ask this question now. The more I learn, there just always seems to be this connection between the CIA and the Mossad. And I'm going, is it just
no?
They're the same organization. I think the more you look back into history, and it's always somehow the CIA and the Mossad is there on the day that JFK gets shot. We learn about like MLK. We learn about 9/11, and I'm just going, okay, why does it seem like there's a union here, a marriage here?
Mossad is like the sister of the CIA. They're joined at the hip, kind of like Siamese twins, and they use each other for intel and operations and things like that. They are extremely close and in an extremely sensitive relationship. Oh, yeah.
And it totally explains what Epstein was doing. And also Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and didn't he die rather mysteriously? I'm not sure.
He fell off, he found dead off his yacht, floating in the water. They claimed it was a heart attack.
Of course.
Just when he was coming under scrutiny for arms dealing and connections with the CIA and being a Mossad agent, actually a double agent with Mossad and KGB. All of a sudden, he's found dead floating next to his yacht, and
happens all the time.
Oh yeah, it's just just one of those things. See what?
But a ton of Mossad agents, and I think a former prime minister of Israel attended his funeral. So it's like, guys, hey, maybe
it's like
Elaine.
It's very difficult that they find out the hard way to cover up the truth, because it's going to leak out, somewhere.
I think we all know it. Mossad is how Israel has so much power over, America's politics. What do you think?
Yeah, where are the 2005, 2007, 2010 ghosts? Where are they at? Why are only ghosts before the 20th century haunting people? Why every time you go on a ghost tour, right? Because they're rooted in history, which, that kind of answers half of my question, but like, why is it only ghost tours of like ghosts or from the Revolutionary War or some shit like that, or like from slavery, like slavery ghosts that are coming back to haunt people, and they have right? Like, did ghosts stop haunting people? Like, is that like a old school thing, right? Like, is it only the old school ghosts that like to haunt people and shit like that? Did ghosts like lose interest in haunting people after like 1901?
I believe modern ghosts are online now.
Do you know that the Shaolin monks don't ever in their life?
How did you even get connected with them?
When I was first of all younger, before I arrived to the US, I used to watch Bruce Lee all the time. We moved here, I didn't speak any fucking word in English. I didn't speak one word in English. What I did find was a Chinese restaurant right across the street. When I used to go there, eventually the owner fell in love with me, and he said, that kid is special. There it was about 3:30 to 4:30. It was the time that I left school, and I would come to him. He would move all of the tables, and he would teach me Kung Fu. And I was 10 years old. It was different, and I loved it. From there, when I got older, I said, I really want to go and train with the Shaolin monks. Then I went out there. First of all, they don't accept you.
How did you get in?
You have to wait outside of the temple. When they let you in, they teach you things that are unbelievable. You don't understand that they are the strongest people in the world, and they don't their whole life. And there is more secrets that I can't share, but the things that they taught me was to the point where I did not feel like I was ever going to be.
Well, I'm not a Shaolin monk. Hey, if you're wondering what this is an electrical therapy. It's good for your heart, for your blood pressure. It's really good.
You guys heard about the Mountain Dew conspiracy?
No.
There's always been that conspiracy of like Mountain Dew flavors like coincide with like
for your muscle too.
big major events. They had something with Maui that when the Maui fires happened, right? Last year they brought back the pitch black, and then we had like the biggest IT blackout of all time.
Oh my gosh.
And there was another one, the tropical flavor, and it was like the tropical swirl. And then we had all those crazy hurricanes.
Is there one with Code Red?
I can't remember if there was, but then they brought a star-spangled splash flavor for 4th of July last year. And then, no joke, later on, that bridge collapsed. But guess what the name of the bridge was called? Francis Scott Key. The guy who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner! Isn't that wild? And so they just released a new flavor. Purple Thunder is the new flavor.
Purple Thunder?
Purple.
I do have the Code Red conspiracy. Code Red was only a few months before 9/11 when it debuted.
No way.
That's insane.
Kind of crazy.
Mountain Dew is owned by Pepsi, correct?
Yes.
And we do know that Pepsi worked with the CIA that one time to overthrow the Chilean government.
Yeah.
Does the CIA work with Pepsi?
I mean, I think it's confirmed at this point. I don't think we have to even...
Let's talk about the dark web. How do you get on it? Where is it?
Okay, so the dark web itself isn't a marketplace. Once you're connected to the dark web, Tor, the onion router, what I was explaining before, you still need to know where to go to visit these horrible websites. They're like, imagine a very long string of letters and numbers, and the website, instead of .com, it'd be .onion. You can't visit those websites in a regular browser. You have to do that while you're connected to the onion router, which you could download at the TOR's website. And then you could go to a thing called like the Hidden Wiki, and the Hidden Wiki will show you all different categories of these websites with a link to them. And there's marketplaces, there's horrible things on there, like you said, for kids, and even like murder for hire. There's counterfeit money, there's fake IDs. There are all kinds of different websites that do horrible things.
Wow. I want the bells back. Nice. It looks fun.
There's this guy, he goes by the name Schoolboy9, and he's a TikToker, but he's posting this crazy he pretty much wears like a mask to make him look like a child, wears boys clothing. Yo, it's straight up nightmare fuel though. It's like, it's dark web content, but it's on TikTok.
What is that?
It's a guy,
That's so
he's like
scary.
middle-aged, and what he does, he lurks around elementary schools.
Oh, creepy.
And pretends he's a kid. Continuing, I wanted to warn you guys, their phones were being spied on. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately. And pretends he's going to school and shit. Now,
what the
apparently there's a case that he's been stalking he's been stalking some kids that go to a certain elementary school. And supposedly there's a hacker that's on the hunt for him because he has some information that he might be doing some things to the kids.
Probably, look at his content. Like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's definitely
Let me get this straight, just so we're all on the same page. Celebrity Jamie Lee Curtis's kid, trans. Dwayne Wade, trans. Naomi Watts, trans. Megan Fox, non-binary and trans. Cher, trans. Cynthia Nixon, trans. Marlon Wayans, trans. Charlize Theron, trans. Heather Dubrow, trans. Annette Bening, trans. Kari Payton, trans. Jennifer Lopez, trans. Busy Phillips, trans. And now, Robert De Niro's son, trans. Must be something in Hollywood's water. Join my Discord to talk about it.
It's an agenda. They all signed, the contract.
They buried her in 3 coffins, bound in chains, but the knocking never stopped. In 1791, Sister Adeline of Marseille began waking up with dirt under her fingernails. At first, the other nuns thought she was sleepwalking, but when they followed her one night, they found her standing in the cemetery, digging with her bare hands. When asked why, she said, "They're calling me from below. I must answer." Her behavior grew stranger. She stopped eating, spoke to shadows, and during prayer, she whispered names that hadn't been spoken in centuries. One night, she collapsed mid-hymn. Her mouth opened, but it wasn't her voice that came out. It was dozens, crying, begging, screaming. evening. The abbess ordered an exorcism, but every priest who entered her chamber came out, changed. One gouged out his own eyes. Another refused to speak ever again. They said something was inside her, not a demon, but a congregation. When Sister Adeline died, the church refused to bury her in hallowed ground. Instead, they placed her body in 3 nested coffins, bound in iron chains, and buried her beneath the abbey's stone floor. But the knocking started 2 days later, rhythmic, like nails on wood. It never stopped. Eventually, they sealed the room entirely, but the nuns still hear it. You can hear a voice beneath the floorboards whispering, "Let me out. They're still waiting."
We need a horror movie about this.
What is the one spy trick you would teach everyone that they can use instantly?
The most important spy trick to change everything immediately is something called perception versus perspective. We all look at the world through our own perception. My dad used to tell me perception is reality. I was arguing this with him when I was 14 years old. I told you so, Dad, you're still wrong. But perception is your interpretation of the world around you. But it's unique only to you. There's no advantage in your perception. That's why so many people find themselves arguing all the time, trying to convince other people of their own perception. Perspective is observing the world from outside of yourself. Or even more powerful, you sit in the seat of the person opposite you. When you shift places and get out of your own perception and into someone else's perspective, now you're thinking like them, which is giving you an informational advantage. But you know what they're all doing? Everyone else out there is trapped in their own perception.
Oh, isn't that just what is it? Basic empathy?
What would you say is the most disturbing thing you've seen while hacking? I guess maybe on the dark web.
Here's one I can tell you about. So about somebody paying to watch a live stream of a baby getting their skull stomped on and crushed, while the baby was alive, of course, and people paying to watch that live stream on a website, which...
That was on the clear web? How was that possible?
Yeah, I mean, if I can remember correctly, it was an RTSP stream, which is like what cameras use in most cases, like an old school surveillance camera would use to view footage.
What did you do after that? Did you call police or what?
Kid really thought he'd get away with murder, but the best part is a brand new law just ruined his life. So this 16-year-old called Sean Simpson was in the back of a black Tesla. He's strapped up and he's angry because of a fight he had with Dawkins' friend. So they drive past the Family Dollar store, and that's when they finally spot their target, Zaquavius Dawkins. But here's the craziest part. Dawkins was just walking to the store to buy stuff for his disabled mom. He didn't even see the Tesla pull up. So Simpson rolls the window down, and suddenly, BAM! He shoots Dawkins multiple times in the shoulder and back, then speeds off. He ruined his life. But Dawkins isn't dead, so maybe the judge will go easy on him. But then, Dawkins dies in the hospital. And 2 days later, the police find Simpson at an anger management center, which clearly ain't working. So he's charged with first-degree murder and taken to court. But he never expects to hear this law. It's called the Raise the Age law. It means if you're 16 or 17 and you kill someone, you're automatically tried as an adult. No juvie, no bond, straight to big boy prison. And this is his reaction.
Find sufficient allegations to support the charges. Considering the relevant charges, he is ordered held without bond.
So bye-bye Simpson, no GTA 6 for you.
Yep, no GTA 6 for you.
Holy shit. Rockstar has just confirmed that everything we saw in that second GTA 6 trailer was captured entirely in-game on a PS5. They said that half the trailer was from actual gameplay and the other half was from cutscenes. Bro, no wonder it is delayed. Not only are they doing things like putting bubbles in the beer, but they're also spending time on tiny little details like how the liquid moves in those bottles when you're carrying them. I don't even want to know how much time they've spent in the strip club. It's already become the most expensive game in history, with reports now suggesting that it's costing more than it was to build the Burj Khalifa. And there are also rumors that the map could be twice the size of GTA 5 and take up around 200 gig of storage.
GTA 6 is going to crash the internet.
The most evil war in history, China bans opium. Addiction is destroying millions, but Britain demands the right to keep selling it. China destroys British opium, so Britain declares war, not to save lives, to protect their drug empire. British warships arrive, cities are shelled, villages burn. China fights with swords while Britain fights with guns. China surrenders. The Treaty of Nanjing is forcefully signed, and Britain takes Hong Kong. Trade opens and opium floods back into China, but Britain wants more and starts another war. British and French French troops storm Beijing. They mercilessly burn the emperor's palace to the ground. By the end, millions are hopelessly addicted. China is humiliated, and Britain is richer than ever. But what Britain did next is even worse. Watch this to find out.
Compare China and Britain now. China lives in year 2050.
In there, in the pool, we drown the sex offenders. They're beaten, and then we dump them in there. That's it.
During the day, it's a kids' pool, and at night, a scene of gruesome vigilantism. Again and again, inmates disappear or are found dead within these walls. Mostly offenders. Those offenders who manage to survive are the dregs of San Pedro society, the scum. They are responsible for performing the most menial tasks, peeling potatoes, working in the kitchen, cleaning up after everyone else, scrubbing toilets and prison cells of the more powerful inmates. One of them is Ricardo Sanchez. He raped 6 girls.
Oh my God.
Right after he arrived at San Pedro, the delegados sought him out. Since then, Ricardo doesn't speak anymore, to anybody. He works from morning to night without earning a cent. Unlike most prisons in America, where these inmates would be kept separate from the rest of the prison population for safety reasons, San Pedro inmates are left to fend for themselves and reap the consequences of their actions.
I don't see this as a bad thing. Even Jesus said you're better off dead if you hurt the little ones.
Why is it that every time someone threatens the world's most powerful people, they end up dead? Not after years, not by accident, right when their voices needs to be heard the most. William Coombs, the indigenous man who said he witnessed Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip take 10 children who were never seen again. Healthy one moment, dead the next. They said natural causes. Just weeks before he was due to testify. Princess Diana, the people's princess, she knew the darkness inside the royal family. She feared for her life. She wrote it down. They're planning an accident in my car. And then she crashed in a tunnel with no CCTV, no proper investigation. Just silence, and a sea of flowers from people who knew. And now, Virginia Giuffre, a woman who stood up against billionaires, royalty, predators, gone, dead just days ago. Another bright light extinguished. And she's not alone. Police officers, investigators, journalists who dug too deep into royal or elite scandals. Many died suddenly too. Dr. David Kelly exposed lies at the highest level of government, found dead in the woods, wrists slit, with almost no blood at the scene, ruled suicide, of course. Jeffrey Epstein, one of the most high-profile prisoners in the world, who was about to expose names that reached the highest halls of power. Left alone, cameras turned off, found hanged in his cell. They tell us it's coincidence. They tell us to forget. But the pattern is too loud to ignore. The people who stand up against evil, who dare to lift the veil, they're the ones who vanish. And the monsters they tried to expose, they're still out there, smiling for the cameras, drinking champagne, rewriting history. Remember their names, remember their courage, because if we don't, no one else will. And follow for more news, views, and uncomfortable truths.
The guy who invented the water engine car.
This video is insane, bro, that I'm about to show you right now. I'm gonna just give you a little bit more context to the video before I actually show it to you, because dude, this shit's crazy. And it's a police body cam footage.
Yeah.
And the person that this police is arresting is the girl who voiced Pocahontas, Irene Bedard. Apparently the police got called because she's at a hotel and the clerks at the hotel heard her screaming and just being hella crazy. And when the hotel clerks try to come up to her and ask her if she's okay or what's wrong with her,
yeah,
she just pretty much started saying that she's evil. In this video, you could clearly see that this girl is not in her right mind right now. Part in this video that I want you to see, I'm gonna show you right now, bro. But when I show you this, bro, when she runs into the hallway,
yeah,
just pay attention to her feet and the shadows.
Okay.
From you. Does this work?
Pay attention to the floor where she's running.
Does this work? I don't know what that is. It's your cell phone. I don't know what that is.
Whoa!
Did you see
it?
Wait
a minute.
What is that?
Okay, bro.
What'd you see?
Wait, let me ask you this. This is 100% police body cam.
This is police body cam footage. Okay. What did you see right now?
Dude, I don't even freaking know, bro. Okay, I'm gonna say this. It looks like a freaking shadow thing grabs her, reaches for her legs, and then it goes onto the wall. Bro, I gotta look at this again, dude. This is absolutely
I don't know what that is. It's your cell phone. I don't know what that is.
Bro. Okay, bro.
What is
I'm gonna
that?
be honest with you. I don't know. That's like a demon or something, bro.
No.
Maybe she really wasn't Cat.
when she
No,
said that there's evil.
maybe
in
she
the
really wasn't Cap.
What is it? Didn't see anything.
I am not the Antichrist, nor do I claim to be the Messiah. The only Messiah to ever come was Jesus, the son of Mary, alayhi salam. 2,000 years ago, he came and was God in creation. I am a messenger and a witness from him to you. You are the Antichrist. Your country is the Antichrist. The United States of America, the great iron beast that tramples on the nations. I am a messenger from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 1400 years ago, he came to the earth and was God in creation. Muhammad and Jesus are brothers, and there are no two messengers closer to one another than them.
Don't put Muhammad next to Jesus. Get out of here. Matthew 24:11, and many false prophets will arise and lead many astray.
How long you been here?
I've come here in 1953. I ain't never been out.
How old were you when you came here?
16, going on 17.
You were just a teenager.
Right, right.
How old are you now?
83.
Do you want to get out of here?
Definitely. Man, I've been here all my life, ever since I was a kid.
That's sad, so sad.
Do you have any people outside?
No. All of them died.
Do you get visitors?
No.
If they ever let you out, are you a danger?
Come on, man.
Did you know that?
Unfortunately, he passed away before being set free.
Oh no. It is all kicking off right now among the Holy of Holies. Because as you know, the Vatican is currently gearing up to elect a new pope. But now, one convicted cardinal is demanding to be part of the conclave that chooses who it will be. This is Cardinal Giovanni Angelo Becciu, and not long ago, he was one of the most powerful figures in the Vatican. However, in 2023, Giovanni was convicted of embezzlement and fraud and was handed a 5.5-year prison sentence. In fact, he was the first ever cardinal to be convicted by the Vatican's criminal court. And on top of that, 3 years earlier, Pope Francis himself told Giovanni that he must resign all the rights and privileges of a cardinal. However, the reason he's currently not in jail is because he's launched an appeal, and apparently it's still under consideration, thus allowing him to continue living in an apartment in the Vatican. 2 years of consideration, huh? Anyway, despite this, Giovanni is now insisting that he does have the right to vote and be voted for. His argument as to why? Well, Pope Francis invited him to an official cardinal meeting in 2022, which he claims automatically reinstates his cardinal privileges. Oh, and just adding to the drama, 2 other cardinals previously found guilty of sexual abuse may also be attending pre-conclave discussions, although they are ineligible to vote due to age, not the other part. This is turning into the movie real quick. So the question is, should Giovanni be allowed to participate, or should his sins damn him to the voteless?
Chad! What? Are you Chad?
Yeah.
You Chad?
Yes.
Alright, where's your brother?
I don't know.
Well, there's multiple people in this house.
Yeah?
Yeah, we've got a warrant for Brett's arrest.
He's not with me.
Alright, walk me through your house, make sure he's not here, and I'll be on my way.
You're not coming in here.
I got an arrest warrant. Contact with Chad at the front door.
You're not coming in my house.
Well, I got an arrest warrant for him. If he's in here...
Well, I'm telling you he's not.
You told me on the phone he was.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he's wearing a gray underarm. What happened to all the people that were in the living room just now? All the... Yeah, he's a Under Armour hat, gray, and an underarm hoodie. Just like I got a felony arrest warrant for him. So if he's not here, walk me through, make sure he's not here, and we leave.
Whether or not, if an officer believes a child is unsafe in the house, he has legal rights to enter.
Sugar in a child's brain is called ADHD. Sugar in an adult's brain is called dementia and Alzheimer's. Sugar in your blood is called diabetes. Sugar in your teeth is called cavities. Sugar in your skin is called aging. Sugar in your eyes is called glaucoma. Sugar in your sleep is called insomnia. And sugar combined with alcohol kills the good bacteria in your gut. To detox from processed sugar, 1. Polyphenols in soursop helps metabolize sugar. 2. Moringa and oregano help reduce sugar cravings. 3. Cut back on processed snacks and foods. 4. Add a soursop supplement to your daily routine. Instead of doing something extremely expensive, I recommend a holistic approach with all natural ingredients. Vixion Soursop Liquid Dropper will flush out all that toxic crap you consume daily. Let's stay healthy and thank me later.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but ADHD is not caused by sugar.
Fast for at least 2 days without water, you'll go into a stage called hormesis. Hormesis, you guys could look it up. It reverses aging. It literally brings you back in time. Your body could last easily 120 years. Healthy, not falling apart. But here everything has sugar. Everything has chemicals. Everything has parasites. Everything has all these ingredients to kill you. They removed the healthy fats, the saturated fats. They removed cholesterol. In the brain, 85% of the brain is made out of cholesterol.
I'll tell you a psychological truth that you must know. Sigmund Freud said this. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Beware of people who seem too virtuous, who seem too good. They might be hiding something. And on the flip side, just remember somebody who's rough around the edges. Someone who's always not the absolute nicest, they might be your most loyal friend in time of need.
Not always true. That's a generalization.
Find this penny from 1982, you could possibly buy a car, a vehicle, or a down payment on a house. Now, in 1982, they made small dates and large dates. Here's what you want to look for. So for the small date, the easiest way to tell is that little curve right there in the 2. Now, on the large date, you'll notice the 2 just goes straight down and hangs a right. So you see how that's straight? And this one has that little curve right there. That's the small date. You want to look for the small date with a D mint mark below the date. Now, once you found that 1982 with the small date and the D mint mark, you want to weigh the coin. Those coins are actually supposed to weigh around 2.5 grams. Now, if you find one with that 1982 D mint mark that weighs 3.1 grams like this wheat penny, that means you will be in for some money. This coin sold for over $10,000 at auction because it was struck onto a mostly copper planchet that weighs 3.1 grams. Good luck out there and let me know if you find it. Well, in my book, A Guide to Coin Hunting, available below at the TikTok shop, I show you guys which coins are actually rare. I show you things to look for on modern coins, things that you could go to the bank, get rolls of coins, and look for that can give your coins an extreme amount of value, like the 1995 double die penny. Most people don't know to look for these coins unless they have, someone telling them, like this book. So feel free to pick one up. Shows you all kinds of things about silver coins and other coins as well, older coins, newer coins. Hit that link below the TikTok shop and get you a copy today, A Guide to Coin Hunting.
Skywatcher. I watched a video of theirs on YouTube. I mean, it'll blow your mind. It's these military dudes that are their own private organization now, developed this technology that they call the dog whistle. Anytime they turn on the dog whistle, a UAP shows up.
It's like a calling beacon.
They have different classes of UAPs. And
wow.
This is a chart. So there's the Tetra, which is class 1, the Tic Tac class 2, Blob class 3, Beam class 4, Manta Ray class 5, Bright Star class 6, Jellyfish class 7, Hornet class 8, and then Egg class 9. It's always daylight too. They never summon them at night.
Even scarier.
Yeah, because they can better observe during the day.
So if the government's able to do that, there's no way they're not like saying, let's trap one.
But that's not even the government. This is their own company.
That's what I'm saying. Like the government has this information.
Yeah.
They're definitely catching these things. Tricking or trapping or something.
I saw this. I'm like, how is no one's talking about this? This video, they're literally like, turn on the dog whistle and they're like, yeah, there's class 1.
Dude, I do not want to see that in real life. Like, I'm way more okay with it being spooky than real.
It's so strange though that like this frequency, they said they have 100% success rate of it. As soon as they turn it on, they will see a UAP.
Yeah, it's not like we just shot in the dark and they just show up every once in a while. Like this is a literal communication system.
Yeah.
Skywatcher is disinformation mixed with truth. Be careful.
Let's talk about Dubai for a minute. Dubai is the king. All the scammers are saying. Really? Here's what you got in Dubai. You have the real people that are in Abu Dhabi. Dubai is very similar to LA and Vegas. This is what I call it. It's like Vegas, but like an LA type of a community. Dubai loves it when you make money from anywhere you are and bring it into Dubai. They love it. You're talking about a kingdom in the end. So you have people that run it. Everything that everyone sees on the internet, on social and stuff about Dubai, that's not the real Dubai. That's a small little part. You go a little bit out, like drive 40 minutes out of where the Burj is and all that, and then you'll see like the average salary over there. You can hire somebody for 500 USD per month. Damn. All the people from India, Pakistan, here, they'll go to Dubai. A lot of people that are in Dubai that are legit, but it's a community. They all know each other. All the new ones going over there, it's all whatever. But Dubai is the place to enter from Dubai into a lot of other areas.
Dubai is a place for modern slavery, and the government is turning a blind eye about it.
This man just convinced me that superpowers are actually real.
Watch this, y'all.
Notice the environment before we start. Pay attention, ready? It's just me. I don't work for Marvel. I don't got no team or people. You feel me? It's me in my backyard. It's time to accept the truth, bro. It's only gonna wait. You feel me? This is.
I feel you,
notice
bro.
the environment.
This is where it gets wild.
Now notice me in the environment.
Things start moving, the energy shifts.
You see that? Notice the environment.
This is insane.
All right. You
Stay
can.
weird, y'all.
Who remember doing this when they were kids?
I've been thinking this for like a month. I figured out who the Antichrist is. I just posted a video. You should check it out. Is anybody else not seeing this? Anybody else? Mark my words. That guy is about to come forward and truly reveal himself to the world. Go watch the video I just posted. It's a stitch of his most recent little speech that he was giving, and look this guy up and tell me if he doesn't fit the bill. They said it would be someone who came out of the Middle East too. So anyone who's thinking Trump and Elon Musk are, you have no actual knowledge of any scripture, and if you've been wondering who it is, here's my guess. Check out my video I just posted.
Read your Bible. It tells you who he is.
Putin is offering Christian conservatives free citizenship in Russia. This isn't a joke, and millions are already flocking. Recently, Putin signed the order granting immediate citizenship for conservative Christian families. He says that Christianity is under attack in the world, and by living in Russia, he will protect you and Christianity. He's also personally inviting conservatives with traditional values. He says these values are loving your wife, kids, and God. Putin also personally is offering full military protection of these families in Russia, saying that Russia is here to stay and will uphold these values forever. If you didn't know, Putin is a staunch Orthodox Christian, attending church multiple times a week. And this decree has already seen millions of people around the world flock to Russia, particularly a lot of Americans. Russia's actually way more advanced than you think, as this chart shows that U.S. roads are more dangerous than Russian roads. He also points out the crime rate is significantly lower in Russia than America, and taxes are way down. Putin is making Russia the Christian safe haven of the world. Would you consider moving to Russia with Putin?
Jesus is king.
This is the Vatican's darkest secret, and it's already in motion. Deep beneath the Apostolic Palace, in a chamber sealed since the 15th century, there is a book bound in human skin. Its pages contain the true deaths of every pope in history, not as the world knows them, but as fate has decreed. The book is called Liber Mortis Pontificum, the Book of Pontifical Death. Each page darkens as a pope's reign begins, slowly filling with ink that forms an image of their demise. John Paul II's page showed a bed, wreathed in light. Others are grotesque. Pope John the 21st page depicted a collapsing ceiling long before it crushed him in 1277. Pope Francis' page has been shifting for years. At first, it showed an old man in a white robe, kneeling in prayer. But in 2025, something changed. The image began to move. Now it shows Francis clutching his chest. Behind him, the Vatican collapses into the earth. At the bottom of the page, a line of text has appeared. Ultimus finis venit, the final end comes. But the true horror lies on the next page. It belongs to the 267th Pope, the last one. The page isn't blank, it's already complete. The image is a screaming figure in papal robes, half submerged in black water, as a burning city sinks beneath the waves. The date beneath it is clear: October 11th, 2026. A Vatican archivist who leaked the images claims the book is writing itself faster now, as if rushing toward an inevitable conclusion.
If it's hidden, how do you know all this stuff? Please.
Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
This is the secret to remembering everything. What? You can remember literally everything. Now, what do you mean by that? What's one piece of content that after you've seen it, you just remember the rest of your life? I'll give you the answer. Something cursed. I don't know. Close. What? It's something super scary. Okay, yeah. Something scary and something that spikes your adrenaline. Now check this out. So there's a theory that adrenaline spikes in our body make us remember things so vividly. Now check this out. Okay. Any single time you felt embarrassed, any single time you felt like you're in danger, how well do you remember that moment? That's why they come super well, right? Yeah. Now in the Middle Ages, bro, take this in. After teaching kids in the Middle Ages, the elders would throw kids into a freezing river to spike their adrenaline. So they found out that spiking their adrenaline will make them remember and retain all of the information in their head. What? So throwing kids in lakes after teaching them shit. Theory, let's say you're studying for an exam, whatever it may be, right? You study, try to make yourself super anxious, make yourself feel like, oh, I'm gonna die, right? You're gonna remember that shit, bro.
So are you saying I need to watch horror movies after studying?
One thing that I've discovered is the black sheep of the family always, if they keep getting back up again, turns out to be the goat. Period.
Black sheep of the family always turned out to be.
They gonna be working for you.
The goat.
It's the truth. So it's people. Gotta really take inventory of the people. Stop taking constructive criticism from people that have never constructed anything that you've walked through.
Black sheep of the family is hated for revealing truth hidden in the family.
They took them and they hanged them. Like the other three guys, they hanged them and they took off their clothes. So they were hanging naked and you know, like with the cricket bat. You know how a cricket bat is? Yeah. So we basically have that same version, but it's like a bat that we use to spank people. So you drill holes in it so that when you swing it, it doesn't catch air and it hits you with the full intention. And they spanked them. They left their butts all black, pitch black. Like while you're spanking them, they shit themselves.
What? Why isn't this dude covering his identity?
And she called that devil her lover. Well, once I saw that and once I was aware of that, I began to see that pattern all throughout the world. And I began to see and begin to what is going on here. The deal is, man, there's a form of this magic that involves all of this sexual activity going all the way back to Genesis chapter 6. When the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, they took unto them wives, and there were giants in those days. There is a realm of angels, whether fallen or not fallen, a certain species of angels that I really believe with all my heart are so similar. Well, let me say this. Not all angels have a true physicality. Okay, they're like the seven spirits of God. We think of the angelic realm or the demonic realm as just poofs somehow. But that's not true, because there are some species of angels, whether fallen or not fallen, that have a true physicality about them. And they literally they portal from one place to another place or from one setting to another setting, but they have a physicality about them. And they are so physical, brother, that they can reproduce, and they are so similar to our DNA that we can reproduce. Wow. Now, I don't know if you've ever thought about, how similar their DNA would have to be to us in order to reproduce. But in Genesis chapter 6, when the sons of God come into the daughters of men and they produce these demonic hybrids, that means they were capable of reproducing. Well, you can't reproduce a dog and a cat. Yeah. So our DNA is super similar. God's earthly family, and there's a realm in God's heavenly family that our DNA is similar.
They are currently in chains, the Nephilims.
If a man ever puts their hands around your neck, the chances of them killing you increases by 750%. August 12th, 2021, 15 days from the last contact with Gabby, there's 2 911 calls made that day. One of them was saying, I don't really know what's going on. It seems like the guy is in the driver's side. And it seems like he doesn't want the girl to get into the van. The girl is like trying to climb through the window to get into the van, but he's not letting her in the van. And then the second caller is like, hey, so I saw him chase her down the sidewalk and slap her across the face. Dispatch receives those calls, police pull the van over, and now let the investigation begin. Do the due diligence, because maybe the witness saw wrong. Gabby is in the passenger seat. She's crying. She's upset. Brian is driving. He's so calm. He's explaining, it's just been a long day. The officers notice scratches on Brian's face, which they ask about them. And he says,
she had her cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away.
She got worked up. I was trying to push her away. Like, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. But
you see, she got me.
The officer says, can I see your hand? Because you got a mark on your hand too. Oh yeah, that's from a wire. From a wire? Yeah. The Moab investigative report says that Gabby tells the police that she hit Brian first. But then she later states, well, he grabbed my face. The way she shows Brian grabbing her face is an aggressive palm grabbing her cheeks. And he does it so hard that she has bleeding on her cheek. But I guess grabbing her face roughly does not constitute as a physical action against her to the officers because they just completely bypass it. And they're like, oh, so you hit him first. Even just the way that the officers ask questions is kind of, for lack of a better words, dumb. They're just asking, did he hit you though? They're just so focused on Brian being the victim. They take so many pictures of Brian. There's not one single picture of Gabby's face injuries, of where he's just grabbing her face.
But somebody saw he's slapping Gabby.
Yes. The police do not go and find that witness. So they're supposed to talk to all the witnesses. They don't go and interview that witness until much later. Side note, another thing is strangulation, which him grabbing her face is pretty much the first step to strangulation. Any hands around the face, grabbing of the face and the neck are some of the biggest indicators of domestic violence. And a lot of the times with cases of strangulation, the defensive wounds are on the perpetrator. There's more markings on the perpetrator, not the victim, because the victim's trying to claw their way out. But the officers, they seem to have a natural inclination to believe that women are hysterical. So they side with Brian. Officer Robbins writes in the initial incident report that Gabby Petito is the primary aggressor.
As a man, I'm sorry. What?
That fits Plato's description is Antarctica. Plato describes an island the size of Libya and Asia combined. In the Greek world, in that time, in Plato's time, that was a description for a territory roughly the size of the First Persian Empire. The First Persian Empire is about the size of the continental United States. Well, that's the size of Antarctica. Moreover, Plato said that Atlantis was in the world ocean. But what does that mean, the world ocean? It's where the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Ocean all meet in a single body of water in the shoreline of Antarctica. It was a global civilization. It's a civilization that used those 1,300-ton stones at Baalbek. A global technical civilization. So, first of all, the only landmass that fits the size is Antarctica. Second, it's in the right place. It's in the world ocean. Third, Plato said that when you go to Atlantis, you can come from one side of the world, like South Africa, and cross over Atlantis and you're on the other side of the world. Where else fits that bill than Antarctica?
Makes sense. Why all countries have a treaty for Antarctica?
The reason why the Jews rejected the Book of Enoch, First Enoch, in their canon is because it testifies of the man they crucified. That's why they rejected it. Full stop. That's why they rejected it. Tertullian knew this. He wrote a treatise on it. And of course, they were appalled. The Jews of the first century were clearly appalled by the notion that angels could have sexual intercourse with human women. So that notion was rejected. And I think that's the main reason, the primary reason why the Book of Enoch was excluded from the canon, was because its content was unsavory to certain people. But nevertheless, the story of Enoch is foundational to the biblical narrative. Foundational. Old and New Testament. And the prophecies of Enoch, namely in the book of parables, in 1st Enoch, is foundational to the eschatology of the writers of the New Testament. The writers of the New Testament were exceedingly conversant with the book of Enoch. In fact, their Christology, their understanding of who Jesus was, much of it is derived directly from the oracles of Enoch.
Speaking of the ancient ruins in the Amazon, I really want to talk about the Olmecs. So the Olmecs, they were the civilization that were thousands of years before the Mayans.
Oh my gosh.
But even like the Mayans and the Aztecs talked about them as ancient people.
As their ancestors.
They like discovered these giant stone heads. They don't look like South American people. Their features resemble a lot of like Africa and Asia.
Interesting.
And yeah, they think that they are the first in Mesoamerica to have a written language,
Wow.
which would predate what we know thousands of years.
Yeah.
They did floating gardens.
Oh, cool.
So like on their lakes and stuff, they would literally have farms that were floating.
Bro, so
like
weird.
really advanced stuff.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds awesome. Do you think they ever had a time back then where they can communicate with other people across?
I think so. The Olmecs, I think it was 700 or 600 BC, they just disappeared.
Wow.
Gone. And this was before any conquistadors, anything. So like even the Aztecs and the Mayans, they had legends about them, but they're like, we have no idea
What happened
how
to
they what happened to them. It was just empty cities.
Wow.
Don't all indigenous people of the Americans descend from Asians? This is a real question, by the way.
I mean, this is really going to get me assassinated. It's like I'm not lengthening my lifespan by explaining this stuff, to say the least. I mean, I was supposed to go back to DC. How am I going to survive? This fucker's going to kill me for sure. In fact, I do think like it's like I actually have to be careful that I don't push too hard on the corruption stuff because it's going to get me killed. You know, yeah, you know, it's like I was actually thinking about that on the plane flight over here. It's like if I push too hard on the corruption stuff, people get desperate. Is the issue?
Right.
Then they say like, okay, if the money flow cuts off, then okay, they can't afford school for their kids.
Right.
Then they're like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you for my kids, sort of thing.
So insane that that's been going on for so long.
It's a gigantic scam, like one of the biggest, maybe the biggest scam ever. You know, someone can get an NGO stood up for a fairly small amount of money. Like George Soros is really good at this. Like George Soros is like a system hacker. Like he figured out how to hack the system. He's a genius at arbitrage. I mean, these days he's pretty old, but a genius at arbitrage. So he figured out that you could leverage a small amount of money to create a non-profit, then lobby the politicians to send a ton of money to that non-profit, so you can take what might be, you know, a $10 million donation to a non-profit to create a non-profit and leverage that into $1 billion NGO. A non-profit is a weird word. It's just a non-governmental organization, and then the government continues to fund that every year, and it'll have a nice sounding name like the Institute for Peace or something like that. But really, it's a graft machine.
And what are the requirements with that money? What do they have to do?
Just really no requirements at all.
So they just get grants and the government just assumes that they're doing good work.
I think a lot of people in the government know that they're not doing good work, but it's a giant graft machine.
George Soros needs locking up.
The best teeth whitening formula that you can make at home uses 2 ingredients. Regular baking soda, which is going to help neutralize the acid, with the active ingredient that makes your teeth white, which is hydrogen peroxide. You want the 3% hydrogen peroxide food grade, not the 25 or 40%. Simply mix baking soda, hydrogen peroxide, and water. Mix it up into a paste, take your toothbrush, and brush your teeth with it 2 or 3.
But I heard that Rex Inamo.
It's been reported that British soldiers and British troops are signing off en masse. And basically what that means is that they're stepping down. And the reason this is happening is because they will not fight for Starmer, and they will not fight in the Ukraine-Russian war, which is clearly a proxy war used to funnel billions into very, very wealthy men and women's pockets. And I think it's great to see our armed forces should not be sent there to die in the name of some EU, NATO movement. It's got nothing to do with us. So good on these troops. And also for the public, do not, if conscription comes in, do not fight for this regime. They're dictators, they're communists. We will not die for them. We will rather be put in a nice warm prison with 3 meals a day. We're not going to minus 20 degrees conditions to be shot at by the Russians. Thank you, Starmer, for your offer, but we all think you're a prick. Anyway, I think it's very good that the army are doing this. Good on the boys. They're absolutely heroic in my eyes as it is. And we don't need to lose them. We don't need them dying in the name of this mad politician, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Big up the British Army.
Do what you gotta do, mate.
Who received the revelation of the flood? Everyone says Noah. No. Enoch received the revelation of the flood. Noah was told to build the ark, but Enoch received the revelation of the flood and told his descendants that the flood was coming. When would the flood come? When his son Methuselah died. That was when the flood would come. And guess when the flood ensued? The year Methuselah died. How long did Methuselah live? I think it was 969 years. That's the duration of a Suntelia, the window of time during which cataclysm will ensue.
Crazy, dude.
Okay, but it's more than that. The meaning of Methuselah's name, his death shall bring, that's only one meaning of Methuselah's name. The second meaning of Methuselah's name is the man of the dart, or the man of the arrow. Who is the man of the arrow? The man of the arrow is Sagittarius. It's the sign of Sagittarius on the zodiac. And Sagittarius is a centaur wielding a bow. He's drawing a bow and arrow, and the arrow is pointing at something very important. And this is called the sign of the Suntelia. The sign of the Suntelia happens when you are within this window of time called the Suntelia, when cataclysm is going to befall the earth.
Isn't it in Genesis 6:13-17? I checked it. God told Noah, not Enoch. But let me know how you feel about this in the comments.
It does not say that God created man in the Garden of Eden. It says the gods created man and put him into the garden.
And when they left the garden, they left and found people out there. It says so in the Bible. All around the garden were people.
And when Adam and Eve were told, had 2 sons, Cain and Abel, when Cain kills his brother Abel, God says you have to leave out of this protected area. Cain says to God in the scriptures, do not send me out there because anyone finding me out there is going to kill me. God says, no, I'm not going to let them kill you. I'll put a mark on you. Now God believes there's somebody out there. The point is that there must have been people out already there, but not as highly developed and not highly evolved. It would be reasonable if you took a caveman or a Neanderthal race of people and took 2 out and then through some sort of a high technology genetically changed them and evolved them quickly and then send you back out into a Neanderthal civilization. Now you're going to be totally different, and they're going to remember that you left and now you come back different. It all smacks of something else that's in the Bible that we haven't been told.
You know, I'd rather wait for God's explanation when I go to heaven. For now, I don't want any confusions.
I am Abdullah, the successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of Jesus Christ. I am the true and legitimate Pope. I am the proof upon the Christians. I am the son of the Muslims through my father, and the son of the Christians and the Jews through my mother. I am the son of the East through my father, and the son of the West through my mother. I am like Zulkarnain, who with one horn in the east and one in the west, and I am the inheritor of all that lies between. I am more knowledgeable than any false pope, and I am appointed by name in the will of the prophets. My name is also on the tongue of Isaiah, who prophesied of the righteous servant, and he said, he will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in him.
I'm Spider-Man on my mother's side and Iron Man on my father's side.
What the fuck happened at Coachella this year? Here are the 4 weirdest moments you seriously can't ignore. Right from the start, things felt off. Billie Eilish walked on stage barefoot. No intro, no sound. Just 1 full minute of complete silence. Then she screamed, "Wake up," and jumped straight into her first track. No one knows if it was performance art or a full-on meltdown. Then came Doja Cat. She always goes wild, but this time she wore a full alien-style exosuit with LED veins that lit up with the bass. At one point, her eyes turned pitch black on the screen. People were shook, like, is that even normal? Some random guy in a bunny costume crashed Skrillex's set. He grabbed the mic and yelled, "Coachella isn't real." Security didn't even move. He just walked away like nothing happened. Still, nobody knows who he was. And the craziest part? Lana Del Rey ended her set with a slow, creepy version of the national anthem, while drones made an upside-down pyramid in the sky. The whole crowd went dead silent. No cheers. Just this weird vibe, like everyone saw something they shouldn't have.
Dude, this is a ritual.
A 3-day fast is the best medicine on earth. It gets rid of the inflammation in your body, like the inflammation on your skin, the swelling, and joint pain. It helps you burn that visceral fat around your belly. It also improves your skin with that dark pigmentation around your eyes and your neck. I'm gonna teach you how to do it and its benefits. Make sure you share this video with people you care about. See, most people think fasting is for weight loss, but that's wrong. It transforms your cells. It cleans the dirty cells and the dirty proteins in your body through a process called cellular waste. In those 72 hours, your body goes through something called autophagy that allows the digestive enzymes to break down damaged cells and turn them into amino acids. So think about it. Imagine you never took out the trash out of your home. Your home would turn to a mess. Well, that's what's happening in your body, and these 72 hours can transform it. Think of it as a full cleanse. So here's how to do it. The day before you start, you want to make sure you reduce carbs and you don't have any alcohol. And you want to increase your fiber and healthy fats. This can be avocados, eggs, butter, and even coconut oil. By doing that, your insulin levels are going to start to come down and your body's going to get ready to start using fat for energy. It's not just for weight loss. You want your body to use this energy source because it's going to start to produce ketones, which I'm going to talk about in a second. The first 0 to 24 hours is your transition phase. At 36 hours, your body's going to increase fat burning and using ketones for fuel. Your body has 2 fuel sources, glucose and ketones that's made by your liver that gives fuel to your brain. And look this up, ketones are actually protective for your heart and your muscles. So you're not going to lose muscle mass when your body's producing ketones. Now the 48 to 72 hour mark is the healing phase. That's where the body starts to reduce the inflammation. The skin starts to improve. Look at how the pigmentation on my face disappeared. The dark pigmentation on my eyes are gone. And during the healing phase, your joint pains disappear as well. Now people ask, how do you make it through the 72 hours? I do water, you can do black coffee, you can do electrolytes. I personally use an extract of yerba mate because yerba mate is the plant that has all the nutrients to sustain life, so you don't feel hungry while you're fasting. And if you want to know more about that, comment the word T below. Now how you break your fast is more important than the fast. You can't just break your fast with a bunch of carbs and skyrocket your insulin. You want to use fiber and you want to focus on proteins and fats, which can be eggs, steak, Greek yogurt, veggies. Now here's how I do it. I'll have fiber as soon as I'm ready to break my fast. And then I'll focus on having healthy fats and protein like eggs or a steak. And for 24 hours, I'm not having any sugar or processed foods. This has been critical from getting my body to being a fat storing machine to a fat burning machine because I fixed the health on the inside. And so if you follow this as well, you can transform your health, reverse aging, reduce that inflammation. Let's go, baby.
So 4 days with zero intake beside water and black coffee. Got it.
The men who abducted, tortured and burned alive a 15-year-old white boy in one of the worst racist murders could be walking free in just a couple of years. Is that justice? Chris Donnell was a young teenager when 5 British Pakistani men dragged him off the streets in Glasgow in 2004. He didn't know them, He had nothing to do with any beef or gang rivalry. He was targeted simply because he was white. They took him on a 200-mile terror ride across Scotland before stabbing him, pouring petrol over his body and setting him on fire when he was still alive.
Oh, man.
That's the level of evil we're talking about. Now, in 2025, we're not just remembering what happened, we're facing the reality that some of these men could be released soon. One killer could be eligible for parole in 2027, the ringleader, Imran Shahid, by 2031, and others in between. Let me ask you this. Is it fair? Is it safe? Do we want men who committed acts so depraved walking amongst us again? What about the safety of white boys today? Kids like Chris. These men didn't just kill. They killed out of racial hatred. Who's to say they won't still carry that hatred? Who's to say they don't still blame Chris for the lives they threw away? Where's the justice in the killers getting freedom before their victim even got to live his life? We need to talk about this. We need to ask, what message does it send if these men walk free? If you think this matters, share this video and have your say in the comments. Let's make sure Chris is never forgotten and public safety isn't sacrificed for time's.
Please don't call them British.
And the Ethiopian church, we know that around the 4th century, missionaries from Syria went down to what then was referred to as the Kingdom of Aksum, which is in modern-day Ethiopia, and they brought with them a whole host of literature. And part of this literature was New Testament books in Greek and the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Old Testament, which at that point was finalized. And the Ethiopian church took all of this literature, which included literature that nobody considered scripture at the time, and they appeared to have just been non-discretionary and included everything. So all of the debates that were happening in the Latin West and the Greek East about what was and wasn't scripture, they looked at that and they said, we're not really interested in that. We'll just take everything. So in being non-discretionary, they end up just canonizing everything, which leaves them with a canon of scripture that is completely unique and includes books like Enoch, which the ancient Jews and every ancient Christian didn't, well, actually, I should preface that. There were a couple of early Christians who said, we think this could be scripture, but then they accept when, all the debates happen that, okay, those are pretty good reasons, we're not going to accept it in the end.
All right.